Morning, all. All right, so quick news of the day video for all you fine people for your Saturday morning, at least Saturday morning for me. So it's Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening for many people watching this. So after last night's game, it was revealed that Ilya Mikheyev was having season-ending ACL surgery, and all I could think was, I don't remember him getting hurt. Didn't he have a goal? Yep. So Mikheyev has been playing on this injury since the preseason. It was a partial tear of the ACL. They've decided to have surgery. He's been playing through the pain. And this is where that age-old argument comes in of, okay, so could he have done more damage? The answer is he could have. There's also should the team have put their foot down, taken him out of the lineup and insisted on surgery? There's that possibility, but we have seen the arguments over surgeries and over all of that fun stuff in recent years as it is, and players do like to have a say in it. So, in this case, Mikheyev felt like he could play on it, like he was going to do his best, and he was out there, probably gritting his teeth and dealing with a lot of pain. But it can cause other damage, and that's the thing. Now, I don't know the nature of the injury exactly and all that, but from what I was reading, you can do further damage if you're playing on a damaged ACL. But it is seen as an injury you can play through. That there are some that will say, no, you can play through that. And in the National Hockey League, we have a history of glorifying players who play through injury, and whether that's, great and awesome and shows how tough the sport is, or if it's foolhardy. Regardless, we've seen players play through injury that has shortened their careers, and we've seen teams being willing to basically, give these guys painkillers and send them out there. And the painkillers, we do know that can have the negative side effect of that as well. You don't want a team of guys who are just, taking painkillers regularly because they're hurt. You want them to actually get better. So that's a debate that's been around the National Hockey League for a long time. Now, I think what makes this story blow up a little bit is that we are dealing with a Canucks team that very recently was seen as having maybe not handled the Tanner Pearson injury very well. So that, in light of this, is going to make them look worse. I would be glad for the Canucks not to be in the news anymore. But here we are. So with Mikheyev out of the lineup, I would say that, maybe you bring up Podkolzin, maybe you bring up Hoglander, you give them a shot at a spot there and see what they can do. Mikheyev believes that he'll be back, 100% for the start of next season. He showed just how tough he is, which, again, we can have that debate some other time. But at this point, he's going under the knife, and, I wish him all the best in his speedy recovery. Not too speedy, of course, and that's something else we've seen too, guys coming back from injury faster than they're supposed to. It's a month to 6 weeks. I'll be back in 3 weeks. And it is that same idea. You don't want to let your teammates down. You don't want to be held back by your physical limitations. But if you come back too soon from an injury, you could be doing more harm than good. So we'll see what happens with Mikheyev, but I guarantee you there's other players in the league right now playing through probably cracked ribs, playing on, Caulfield just yesterday, we were talking about Caulfield and him popping his shoulder back in a couple of times. So these are things that are happening. And there's also, too, I would think there are players who get hurt and don't talk to the team about it necessarily either. So in this case, the team knew, but in some cases, I would think they probably don't. The players don't want to lose their spot in the lineup, especially if you're further down the lineup. You don't know if that spot's going to still be there when you're healthy, right? Especially, if it's a long-term injury, they may replace you while you're out. All the best to Mikheyev. Now, TJ Brodie may return tomorrow. He's looking for just clearance. He feels fine. And if he gets that clearance, he'll play tomorrow for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've missed Brodie back there. That being said, Toronto has shown all year that it's next man up on their blue line, and it's been impressive. Last night's results notwithstanding, I think their defense has been a highlight this year through most of their games. Matt Murray's injury is still one of those oddities right now in that we know he got hurt yesterday before the game and he was supposed to start. So that pushes Samsonov to start a game he wasn't expecting to, which may explain the score last night as it was, but when you think about it, not having Matthews in the lineup could be part of that too, and just Ottawa really needed that game, and I think we're at the point in the season too where there's going to be some teams that understand how much those 2 points are really important to them in that game, maybe more so than their opponent. So that may have been part of it as well. But yeah, so for Toronto, injury news is always going and ongoing. And on the Montreal side, they've been forced to recall Owen Beck. So a draft pick from last year's draft for them, 18 years of age. They've recalled him from the OHL on an emergency basis, and he will be playing tonight versus the Senators. At least that's the expectation. Habs fans will likely be excited to see what he's able to do. Always temper your expectations when it comes to an 18-year-old. You can be hopeful, but understanding. Not all 18-year-olds can just go out there and play against National Hockey League level players and excel. Not right away. It can take some time. So all the best to Beck in his debut for these guys. And of course, the injury news for Toronto seems to be somewhat encouraging with Brody, less so with Murray. And the Mikheyev story is just the latest in a long string for the Canucks. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.